Welcome back to the Motivated Mind Zone. Glad to have you here. We are about to embark on a deep dive today that honestly promises to be nothing short of truly transformative.
It really is. Because today, our mission, what we're really focusing on, is tackling one of the biggest challenges, I think, especially for high-achieving people.
Which is?
Defaulting to worry. That first thing in the morning feeling, right? That dread.
Oh, absolutely. The moment your eyes open.
Exactly. So we're diving into a very specific set of 8 sentences. Just
Yeah.
8. 8 morning mantras you can tell yourself, literally, every single day.
And the promise here, and this is what we're going to back up with some, well, pretty solid science, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The idea is that the only thing really keeping you from waking up and feeling, genuinely incredible is adopting this kind of deliberate programming.
That's it. We're going straight into the specific language, the actual words, and crucially, this sort of neurological backing.
Yeah.
How these sentences can actually reprogram your mind, boost your mood, and, well, ensure you have a great day, a successful day.
Okay, so the core idea, the foundational premise, it rests on cognitive science, right?
Decades of it. Basically, if you're not programming your brain on purpose, it's still getting programmed anyway.
Right. It doesn't just sit there blank.
No way.
Yeah.
It gets programmed by default,
Yeah.
by the scary headlines you glance at, by maybe unresolved worries from your past, the anxiety from that huge to-do list.
And that inner critic, that voice.
That relentless negative self-talk.
Mm.
Yeah, that's constantly running its own program.
So the goal today is taking back control. Radical control, you said.
Exactly. We're seizing the programming remote, taking it back from those external things, from the past patterns.
And we've pulled together research from some really heavy hitters here, world-renowned experts.
We have, including a psychiatrist who's, get this, scanned nearly 300,000 brains.
Wow, 300,000.
Yeah, and neuroscientists who confirm that just repeating these simple sentences can literally change the physical structure and the function of your brain.
Okay, so that's where I start then. With the science of this intentional programming and maybe understanding the cost of just letting negativity run the show by default.
Precisely. Let's dive into the cost of that default negativity first.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a principle you mentioned, borrowed from engineering.
Yeah, it's a classic coding term. Garbage in, garbage out. GA-go.
Go, okay.
And it applies perfectly to the human mind. I mean, if you're running negative programming on repeat, if you wake up just bracing for the worst possible thing,
Then that's what your brain looks for and produces.
that's exactly what your brain will filter for, and it's what comes out in terms of your emotional state, your mood, even your behavioral responses throughout the day.
So the brain isn't really judging the input, it just runs the code.
Pretty much. It's
Okay.
like this incredibly powerful computer, right? And just runs whatever operating system you install on it.
So if the current OS is, I can't handle this, or something awful is bound to happen today.
Then it optimizes everything, your energy, your attention towards finding evidence to confirm that program. It wants to be right.
Which brings us to Dr. Daniel Amen. You mentioned him earlier, that psychiatrist with all the brain scans.
Yes, Dr. Amen. He's the director of Amen Clinics. And his work is so empirical, grounded in those nearly 300,000 brain scans. It really informs this whole approach.
And his belief is, what? That you have to program it.
You have to program your brain intentionally. And he argues that one of the most accessible, most effective tools we have is simply repeating simple, positive sentences.
Especially right when you wake up, that timing is key.
Critically important. That's when your brain is in a particularly suggestible state. We'll get more into that later.
Okay, so this isn't just like feel-good motivational stuff. It's actual neurological change.
Exactly. It moves way beyond just positive thinking. And we're also leaning on the work of the late Dr. Jim Doty here.
He was at Stanford, a neuroscientist.
Neuroscientist and neurosurgeon, yeah. He strongly backed this idea, too, that using simple, intentional sentences can literally alter the way you experience your life.
Okay, but how? How does that alteration actually happen? When we say these sentences physically change your brain, what's the mechanism? Can we break that down?
Yeah, let's break it down. The mechanism is neuroplasticity. It sounds complicated, but the core idea is simple.
Okay.
Every single time you have a thought, any thought, an electrical signal passes between two neurons across this tiny gap called a synapse.
Right.
Now, when you repeat a specific thought, let's take a negative one like I'm such an idiot, that particular synaptic connection gets used again and again. It strengthens.
Like forging a path.
Exactly like forging a path.
Yeah.
Over weeks, months, years, decades.
Yeah.
That pathway becomes like a superhighway in your brain. It's the path of least resistance for electrical signals.
So when something challenging happens, your brain just automatically takes that familiar superhighway, the quick negative thought.
Precisely. It defaults to the strongest, fastest connection, which for many of us is unfortunately a negative one due to habit or past experiences.
Okay, so how do the mantras counter that?
By intentionally repeating a positive, proactive sentence like, I can handle this, you're consciously forcing that electrical signal to take a different route, a new path. Maybe initially it's just a little dirt track, not a highway.
It's weaker at first.
Much weaker. But with repetition, day after day, that little track gets wider, it gets paved, it gets stronger. You are literally physically building new neural superhighways of positive thought.
Until eventually the positive thought becomes the new default, the new path of least resistance.
That's the goal. That's the physical change Dr. Doody and Dr. Amen are talking about. It's not metaphorical, it's structural.
Wow, that really reframes intentional thinking. It's not just a nice habit, it's like active neural construction work.
It is. And what we're trying to counteract with this construction is that huge gravitational pull of negative self-talk that, let's be honest, most people just accept as normal background noise.
So common.
Incredibly common. And Dr. Paul Conde is a psychiatrist trained at both Stanford and Harvard. He gave a master class on just how devastating this seemingly harmless negative self-talk really is.
How so?
Think about those moments, maybe after a mistake or when facing uncertainty. Do you internally label yourself, I'm an idiot, I always screw things up, I'll never get ahead?
Yeah, those little automatic judgments.
Those repeated negative self-definitions, they're not harmless. Yeah. They actively program your mind to default to these pervasive bad moods, these bad attitudes. Yeah. It's off like an echo of some criticism you heard maybe 20 years ago, still running the show in your head.
So if you aren't consciously choosing the programming,
the past is choosing it for you, or the fear is choosing it for you.
So the big takeaway here is that having a good attitude or just being in a good mood for apparently no reason, that's not luck. It's a skill.
It's absolutely a skill. And it has to be trained. Just like, unfortunately, most of us have trained ourselves unintentionally to default to negativity or worry for no specific reason. That's just our current programming.
But we can change the programming.
Through repetition and conscious effort, you absolutely can. You can train yourself to default to a positive, capable, resilient state. Attitude becomes this powerful, trainable asset.
Okay, so we're working to make that positive outlook the new automatic setting. Let's dive into the first three anchors you mentioned. Attitude, expectation, and capacity, starting with number one.
Mantra number one. This is the baseline setting, the foundation. It's incredibly simple. Today's going to be a great day.
Okay, just that statement.
Well, the genius of it, as Dr. Amen explains it, isn't just saying the statement itself. It's the immediate follow-up question you ask yourself. Why do you think today's going to be a great day for you?
So you have to answer it.
You have to engage with it. This is what he calls directing your mind. You're not passively waiting for your brain to latch on to the worry about, say, the dentist appointment later.
You're actively forcing it.
You're forcing it to use its creative problem-solving abilities to search for reasons for positivity.
Yeah.
You basically just launched a positive scavenger hunt in your own mind.
But what about, What if someone listening is thinking, okay, but is this just denial? Forced optimism? What if I genuinely am going through a really tough time? Like, what if I literally have to attend a funeral today or I'm dealing with a huge financial crisis?
That's a perfect and really important question.
Real.
And the source material tackles this head on, saying today's going to be a great day isn't about denying reality. It's not pretending the difficult thing isn't happening.
It's about attitude then.
It's a declaration of attitude and intentional effort within that reality. It means you are choosing to actively look for and create ways to make the day great, despite the very real difficulty.
Okay, can you give an example, like the funeral one you mentioned? How would that work?
Okay, the funeral example is actually a powerful way to illustrate this reframing. The greatness of the day doesn't magically come from the sad event itself, obviously.
Right.
It comes from your intentional choices within that difficult context. You might decide, okay, I will make this day great by choosing to connect more deeply, maybe hug everyone a little tighter. I'll focus on sharing positive, uplifting memories of the person we lost.
Or maybe planning something positive afterward.
Exactly. Or deciding, after this difficult duty, I will make the day great by engaging in something deeply restorative and positive for myself. Maybe it's a long walk in nature. Maybe it's simply brewing a perfect cup of tea and finding a moment of peace.
So you're asserting control over your own subjective experience of the day, even when the external circumstances are tough.
You're choosing to elevate the experience through your intentional actions and attitude, rather than just letting the circumstances dictate your entire emotional state. You find the greatness within the constraints.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about agency. And that choice of attitude seems to lead right into mantra number 2.
It does. Perfectly. Mantra number 2. Something cool is going to happen for me today.
This one feels different, more about expectation.
It's pure anticipation. If mantra 1 sets the overall tone, mantra 2 turns your entire day into this deliberate mental scavenger hunt, specifically for positive, maybe unexpected events.
So instead of bracing for the usual disaster,
You're installing an expect wonder filter, or at least an expect something cool filter. It actively counters that habitual expectation that something will probably go wrong.
and what does priming your brain like that actually achieve?
Two critical things, based on how our attention works. First, by actively looking for cool things, you dramatically increase the likelihood that you'll actually notice them when they happen. They might have happened anyway, but you wouldn't have registered them.
Like the green pickup truck idea we'll get to later.
Exactly like that. And second, you actually increase your enjoyment of those cool things because you were sort of anticipating them. You were primed to appreciate them.
Can you give some examples of what a cool thing might look like? It sounds a bit vague.
Oh, it could be anything, big or small. Maybe you bump into an old colleague randomly at the coffee shop, and that totally unplanned chat leads to a hint about a job opening you didn't even know existed. That's a cool thing manifesting.
Okay, yeah. Serendipity?
Or remember that anecdote from the source about getting that hilarious, super long text out of the blue from an old college roommate? The one with the weird inside joke about a silk garter necklace that looked like a tumor?
Right? The bizarre story.
Okay, so the text itself was just, an update. But because the person's brain was primed by the mantra something cool was going to happen, they didn't just see it as a random text. They registered that unexpected burst of humor and connection as a genuine highlight. It elevated the day. It became one of the cool things.
So it's about recognizing and labeling those positive moments, not just letting them fly by unnoticed.
That's the shift. You don't just passively wait for something cool to smack you in the face.
Yeah.
You actively launch the mental search party for it.
Okay. Attitude, expectation. What's the third anchor?
The third anchor is absolutely essential, especially for managing that low-grade, persistent anxiety that just seems to hum in the background for so many of us. Mantra number 3, no matter what happens today, I can handle it.
This one feels like a bedrock. confidence.
It is, and it directly tackles anxiety.
Yeah.
If we define anxiety, at least in this context, is that moment of perceived uncertainty where you fundamentally doubt your ability, your capacity to handle something coming up in the future.
Like seeing your ex at that party you have to go to, or getting that vague email from your boss. Need to talk tomorrow morning.
Exactly. Your brain immediately jumps to the worst case scenario, right?
Right.
It paralyzes you with fear of the unknown consequence.
So this mantra, it challenges that fear directly.
Directly. It challenges that core, often subconscious belief that you can't handle it.
Yeah.
You're basically engaging in like hand-to-hand combat with your own worried brain. You're pushing back.
You're saying, hold on, brain. I reject that assumption. I've handled tough stuff before. I'll find the resources. I can handle whatever comes.
Yes, you're summoning your own resilience proactively. And this is incredibly critical first thing in the morning. We really need to do a quick deep dive into why anxiety often feels worse right when you wake up.
Yeah, that feeling of dread, sometimes even a racing heart before you're even fully conscious.
Exactly that. It often feels like it comes out of absolutely nowhere. But there's a biological reason, often linked to something called the cortisol awakening response, or KIR.
Cortisol awakening response. Okay.
So cortisol is your body's primary stress hormone. And the KIR is this natural, normal biological phenomenon where your cortisol levels rise quite sharply, usually peaking within the first 30 to 45 minutes after you wake up.
And this is normal. It's supposed to happen.
Totally normal and actually healthy. This cortisol surge is designed to wake you up fully, increase alertness, boost your energy, get your cognitive resources online. Basically, it's your body's ancient way of making sure you're ready to face the day's challenges, ready for action.
Okay. But if it's normal, why does it feel like panic for some people?
Ah, that's the problem, especially if you're already prone to worry. Your brain, particularly the amygdala, that's your brain's little alarm center, feels this internal chemical spike. It feels like internal agitation or chaos.
And it looks for a reason for that feeling.
Precisely. Since your habitual programming might already lean towards worry, the amygdala quickly latches onto potential threats, past mistakes, vague future worries, that overwhelming to-do list.
So the natural, normal cortisol surge gets misinterpreted.
It gets misinterpreted as proof that there's a real immediate threat out there. It fuels the self-doubt. You wake up, feel that elevated physical state, and your brain concludes, see, I knew it. I can't handle today. Something bad is coming.
Wow. Okay. So when you start your day right away with mantra 3, I can handle it.
You are proactively interrupting that entire negative feedback loop before it gains momentum. You're grounding yourself. You're telling your brain, despite this hormonal surge, hey, this isn't actual panic. This is just biology doing its thing. And regardless of the biology, I am capable.
You stop the anxiety train before it even leaves the station.
That's exactly it. It's incredibly empowering because you're using your conscious, intentional thought to manage and reinterpret an involuntary biological process. You understand the science, and you use the mantra to override the habitual negative interpretation of that science.
That is really powerful cognitive control, using the thought to manage the biology. Okay, so now let's talk about intentional change moving forward. And the brain's filter system. This takes us to mantra number 4.
Yes, mantra number 4. An exciting new chapter of my life is starting today.
Okay, exciting new chapter. This seems very proactive.
It's fundamentally about agency and about psychological boundary setting. This mantra allows you, the listener, to intentionally turn the page, to say, okay, that period of stagnation or that difficult circumstance, we're drawing a line.
You're signaling to your subconscious.
Exactly. You're signaling we are done with dwelling on the past in that way. We are ready for a fresh start, and it starts now. Not tomorrow, not next week, today.
And why is that important? Why not just wait for things to change naturally?
Because honestly, how many of us spend weeks, months, even years delaying progress because we're passively waiting? Waiting for a negative situation to somehow resolve itself. waiting for a difficult chapter to just end on its own. We feel like we need permission or some big external sign.
You don't need permission.
You absolutely don't. Why wait for some external event, maybe even a catastrophe, to finally prompt you to make a change? When you declare internally an exciting new chapter is starting today, you shift your identity slightly, instantly, and the action tends to follow that declaration.
So what might that action look like? How does it manifest?
Oh, it could be anything that represents that shift. It might be finally signing up for that online class you've been thinking about.
Hmm.
It might be spending 30 minutes updating your resume. It could be reconnecting with an old friend who inspires you.
Or even smaller things.
Even smaller. It could be deciding to take a different, more scenic route home from work just to break the pattern. It could be deciding, tonight I'm not going to have that glass of wine. The declaration itself is the catalyst for these small, chapter-starting actions.
Okay, and the reason these declarations can translate so effectively into action and eventually visible change, this is where the brain's filtering system comes in.
Yes, this is critical.
Hmm.
We need to talk about the reticular activating system, or the RAS.
The RAS. Okay, what is that?
The RAS is maybe one of the most important concepts to grasp if you want to understand why repeating these mantras actually works on a practical level. It's basically a network of neurons deep down in your brainstem.
And its job is?
Its main job is to act as a vital information filter. Think of it like a bouncer at the door of your conscious mind, or maybe like a hairnet catching stray thoughts.
A filter to protect us.
Exactly. Without this filter, we'd be instantly, completely overwhelmed. Imagine if every single sensory input, every sight, sound, smell, touch, every internal twinge of pain, every passing car reached your conscious awareness all at the same time.
You'd be paralyzed. Sensory overload.
Total overload. You wouldn't be able to function at all. So the RES's job is survival and focus. It screens out something like 99.9% of all the data flooding your senses every second.
Wow, 99.9%.
And it only allows a tiny fraction of that information to actually get through to your conscious awareness.
So, what gets through the filter? What makes the cut?
Generally, four main categories of things reliably get through the RES filter. Number one, your own name. You'll hear it across a crowded room.
Right. Yep. Always snaps you to attention.
Number two, any immediate threat to your physical safety. A sudden loud noise, something moving quickly towards you. Survival instinct.
Makes sense.
Number three, when someone shows interest in you, romantically or otherwise, it flags that as potentially important social information.
Okay. And the fourth one? You said it was the most important for this.
The fourth one is the game changer for programming. The RAS allows through anything your brain believes is important to you.
Ah, okay. So belief is the key. How does the brain decide what's important?
That's where the programming comes back in. What you focus on, what you tell yourself repeatedly, signals to the RAS what you deem important. And this isn't just theory. We can see the RAS working all the time. Let's use that classic example you mentioned. Ben deciding he wants to buy a green pickup truck.
Okay, Ben wants a green truck.
Before Ben had that specific intentional thought, I think I want a green pickup truck, those trucks were essentially invisible to him, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Never noticed them.
They were irrelevant information, so the RAS filtered them out. The city was probably full of them, but they just didn't register consciously for Ben.
Okay. But then he decides he wants one.
The second his brain registered that thought, buying a green pickup truck is now important to me, the second he prioritized that goal, bang, the RAS filter settings updated instantly.
And suddenly.
Suddenly, Ben drives down the street and he sees green pickup trucks everywhere, on every corner, in every parking lot. And he thinks, wow, where did all these green trucks suddenly come from?
But they were always there.
They were always there. His filter changed because his priorities changed. His new intentional focus literally trained his RAS to start actively searching for and prioritizing green pickup trucks, letting them into his conscious awareness.
That's fascinating. So connecting this back to the mantras.
This is the scientific explanation for why those morning mantras are so powerful. By repeating day after day, today is going to be a great day, or something cool will happen, or an exciting new chapter is starting.
You're programming your RAS filter.
You're explicitly telling your RAS that great days, cool experiences, personal growth, and your own capacity are important. They are priorities for your attention and goals.
And consequently,
Consequently, your RAS actively starts scanning your environment, searching for evidence that confirms those priorities. It starts letting those experiences, the subtle opportunity, the positive interaction, the moment of insight, the cool thing, through the filter and into your conscious awareness.
so you don't just stumble upon opportunities. Your RAS actively points them out because you told it that's what you're looking for.
You got it. Repetition strengthens that priority signal to your internal filter.
Hmm.
You're literally training your brain to see the good you want to create.
Okay, that shift from just passively experiencing life to actively noticing the good stuff because you've programmed your filter, that's profound. Now let's move into the next set of sentences. These seem focused more internally on self-compassion and emotional stamina.
Exactly. We have to address our brain's natural tendency towards self-criticism. It's a powerful default setting for many people.
You mean the negativity bias?
Precisely. The negativity bias. Evolutionarily speaking, our brains evolved to pay much closer attention to negative information threats, mistakes, failures, because historically that was way more critical for survival than noticing positive things.
Spotting the tiger in the bushes was more important than admiring the sunset.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have this deep-seated, often unconscious instinct to scan our experience, especially our own performance, for what went wrong.
And that leads us directly into mantra number 5.
It does. Mantra number 5 is the conscious counterattack to that negativity bias. It is. I need to give myself more credit for how hard I'm trying.
Oh, I like that one. Give myself more credit.
It's so necessary because the default programming, that negativity bias, means you could achieve, say, 115 things on your massive to-do list at work.
But your brain laser focuses on the one thing you missed.
Exactly. Or the one slightly awkward word you used in a presentation. That critical focus just destroys your internal motivation, your fuel.
And the truth is, most people are trying really hard, aren't they? Even if it doesn't always feel like it.
Incredibly hard. Think about it. You listening right now, you're probably putting in long hours, making really complex financial decisions, maybe struggling to get back to the gym after a break, juggling hundreds of emails, navigating difficult family dynamics.
A lot of that effort is invisible, even to ourselves sometimes.
Totally invisible. And if you don't consciously stop and acknowledge that effort, that striving, you simply run out of psychological fuel. You burn out.
So self-acknowledgement isn't about ego. It's about sustainability.
Absolutely. Without that proactive self-acknowledgement, that internal cheerleading, people just stop pushing through the inevitably hard periods. Self-criticism is like pouring sand in your own engine. Self-acknowledgement is the fuel. It creates this psychological flywheel effect, building sustainable momentum and persistence.
And crucially, you mentioned we shouldn't wait for others to give us that credit, waiting for external validation.
That's a critical point. Waiting for your boss or your spouse or your mentor to notice your effort and give you praise. It's dangerous. It puts your self-worth entirely in their hands.
If you only feel proud when someone else pats you on the back.
You spend your whole life performing for approval, dependent on external factors you can't control. This mantra forces you to be your own primary source of validation.
Acknowledging your own hard choices, the discipline, the sheer persistence it takes to keep going when maybe nobody else is even watching.
That internal acknowledgement is the most reliable, most sustainable fuel source there is for long-term success and well-being.
Okay, that's powerful. Moving on to mantra number 6.
Mantra number 6, I'm allowed to be a work in progress.
Ah, the permission slip.
Exactly. This is the permission slip you need to beat procrastination and that crippling perfectionism. It directly counters that paralyzing fear that whispers, you're not ready yet. You have to be 100% perfect, 100% certain before you can possibly take that step or put your work out there.
So when you internalize this mantra, what happens?
You're essentially telling your brain, okay, team, we're going to launch this thing. We're going to try. We're going to grow. And you know what? In the process, we are almost certainly going to make some mistakes. And that is okay.
It embraces growth, accepts imperfection.
Instead of letting yourself be defined by your current incomplete state or by the inevitable bumps in the road.
The source material had a really good specific example for this one, right? From the launch of the Let Them Theory book.
Yeah, that was a perfect illustration. Apparently, the initial launch process was just riddled with little errors. Things like a mistake in the URL provided for downloads, sending the wrong version of the manuscript to a major online platform, various typos being caught after it went live.
Okay, so the natural negatively programmed reaction to that would be?
Total panic spiral, right? Oh my God, I failed. The whole book launch is ruined. Everyone thinks I'm incompetent. I should just pull it and hide.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
But because the person involved presumably had this underlying programming of I'm allowed to be a work in progress, the immediate response wasn't that self-flagellation. It shifted much faster to proactive problem solving.
More like, okay, oops, there's an error.
There's an error, we
Yeah.
acknowledge it, we fix it as quickly as we can, and we keep moving forward. They focused on the millions of positive impacts the book was already having, rather than letting one email pointing out a typo trigger this massive disproportionate stress response and shut everything down.
So the mantra allowed them to just ride the wave of imperfect execution.
Exactly. It reframes mistakes. They're not proof that you're a fundamental failure. They're just necessary data points you gather along the path of growth and action.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Which seems to lead nicely into the seventh mantra, which is about momentum and stamina.
Beautifully. Mantra number 7, focusing on that long game. If I keep showing up, life will reward me.
If I keep showing up, this sounds like it's about persistence, the daily grind.
It's all about the discipline of the reps.
Hmm.
You know, the reps are those often boring, sometimes annoying, maybe even painful little things you just have to do every single day.
Like the consistent admin work, the daily writing practice, the sticking to your health routine even when you don't feel like it.
Exactly. And the results from these reps are rarely immediate, are they?
Yeah.
So it's incredibly easy to get discouraged and just quit.
Because you don't see the payoff right away.
Right. But the game of achieving anything significant long term, it isn't actually about those immediate massive results. The real game is just showing up consistently and doing the reps. The game is simply not quitting.
So this mantra programs your brain for that stamina.
It programs your brain for deep stamina by instilling this fundamental belief in eventual cumulative progress. Even when reality feels frustratingly nonlinear, like you're putting in effort but not seeing results.
It provides that necessary perspective check, like, okay, I haven't seen the results yet.
It just means I haven't done enough reps yet. You're training your brain to believe in the eventual, almost inevitable payoff of consistent, focused persistence. Keep showing up.
You know, every success story you ever hear about, whether it's in business or art or science, when you dig into it, it's always a story of stamina, isn't it?
Always. Those people had absolutely no guarantee of success along the way. But this kind of internal belief, this programming that if I keep going, it will eventually yield something, that's the necessary fuel. It's what gets them through those long, discouraging periods of slow progress and setbacks.
It's basically you against your own tendency to just give up when things get hard.
Don't quit on yourself. Keep showing up.
Okay, so we've anchored our attitude, built up our expectation of good things, reinforced our capacity to handle challenges, given ourselves credit, allowed ourselves to be imperfect, and committed to showing up. That's a lot. We're ready for the final sentence. This one deals with purpose.
Yes, the final anchor. Mantra number 8, which really connects us to something bigger. I have an important contribution to make to the world.
Wow. That's a big statement, an important contribution.
It is. And this mantra works by affirming that quiet, sometimes hidden, deep belief that your life fundamentally matters.
Ah.
Regardless of your current job title, your bank balance, or your perceived status.
It's like a reminder of inherent value.
Exactly. A necessary reminder of your unique, completely irreplaceable value in the world.
I mean, think about the sheer statistics for a second. Out of, what, 8 billion people on this planet now?
Around that, yeah.
Only one single person has your exact voice print. Your specific, unique life story and accumulation of experiences, your DNA, your fingerprint.
Your unique perspective, born from that absolutely specific set of experiences. It's an asset. It's something the world actually needs, even if you don't always feel that way.
Okay, but the word contribution can feel daunting. Like, does it mean I have to go cure cancer or start a global movement?
That's a really common feeling, and we have to stress this. Contribution doesn't have to be massive or world-altering to be important. Not at all.
It can be smaller.
Absolutely. It can manifest in really small, simple, focused actions that nonetheless create a powerful, positive ripple effect, starting right where you are today.
Like what kind of small contributions count?
It could be as simple as consciously choosing to bring kindness and patience to your interaction with a stressed-out barista this morning. It could be intentionally bringing warmth and positive energy into a tense meeting at work.
Or just how you show up at home.
Or simply deciding to be in a genuinely good mood when you walk through the door after a long, maybe stressful day. Making that good mood your contribution to your family or roommates today.
So that's kind of the ultimate takeaway then, that your energy itself can be your contribution.
That's a huge part of it. Intentionally deciding that your energy, your attitude, the very state you've cultivated using these other mantras is your important contribution to the world today.
If you've trained yourself, as we discussed, to default to a good attitude for no particular external reason.
Then taking that stable, positive attitude into your workplace, into your community, into your family, that is a profound, stabilizing, important contribution to the collective energy field around you.
So you're intentionally deciding, my presence, my energy, that's part of my purpose today.
Exactly. Your state is your contribution. Hashtag tag outro. Okay, so we've covered all 8 mantras now, the science, the why behind them. Before we wrap up, let's quickly nail down the implementation strategy, because just knowing them isn't enough, right? Consistency is absolutely everything here.
Right. Practical application. First big question. Do you actually have to say these sentences out loud? Or is just thinking them enough?
Good question. The strong recommendation is yes, try to say them out loud if you can.
Why out loud?
Because speaking engages more parts of your brain simultaneously. You've got the motor cortex involved in moving your mouth, the auditory cortex processing the sound of your own voice. This multisensory engagement seems to create a stronger neural pathway more quickly. It reinforces the message more powerfully.
But what if you feel, I don't know, self-conscious? Or someone else is around?
Totally understandable. If saying them out loud isn't practical or comfortable, then you absolutely must, at the very minimum, think them with deep focus and intention. Really feel them as you think them.
Okay. And is there anything else you can do to boost the effectiveness?
Yes, writing them down is even more powerful.
Writing them, like every morning.
Ideally, yes, especially when you're starting out. Writing physically engages your senses even more. The tactile feel of the pen on paper, the visual confirmation of seeing the words appear. This multisensory involvement basically shouts to your brain, hey, pay attention. This stuff is vital information.
It tells the RAS, flag this as important.
Precisely. It signals that this programming is a top priority for you. She really means business with this.
Okay, makes sense. Now, the other big question everyone always asks with habits, how long does this actually take to work? People want results fast.
Yeah, and there's definitely a natural resistance to being told something takes time, isn't there?
Yeah.
But we have to be realistic. You're working to override potentially years, maybe even decades, of ingrained negative thought patterns and default worries.
That's not going to happen overnight or even a week.
No way. The neuroscientific research and practical experience strongly suggests committing to this practice consistently for a minimum of 30 to 60 days.
30 to 60 days.
Oh,
Okay. Why that time frame specifically?
because actual rewiring of the brain, building those new neural superhighways we talked about, requires sustained, consistent repetition. Think about it. It probably took you years of unintentional practice to learn how to worry by default.
Right. It's a deeply ingrained habit.
So a positive reprogramming effort needs a similar level of consistent commitment to take root and become the new default. You're essentially challenging your brain's capacity to change, so you kind of have to use mantra number 3 on the process itself. I am capable of handling this commitment for 30 to 60 days.
So the goal isn't just to say them for 60 days and stop. The goal is repetition until you don't even have to consciously remember to say them anymore.
Exactly. Until they become your brain's automatic resting state, your new default programming when you wake up.
And just to reiterate one last time, the timing, why the morning is so critical for this.
Yes, let's really emphasize that. You wake up in this unique window of high suggestibility. Your cortisol is naturally elevated, that CIR response, which makes you alert but also potentially anxious if undirected.
And your conscious mind isn't fully online yet.
Right. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for complex logic, planning, and impulse control, is still booting up, basically. It's not fully engaged yet. This means your subconscious mind is unusually wide open to suggestion and input.
Which brings us neatly to our final, maybe provocative thought for everyone listening today. You've heard these 8 powerful sentences. You understand the science behind why they work and why the morning is key.
So, please, please do not make the fatal mistake, the most common mistake people make.
Which is?
Checking your phone first thing. Checking texts, checking email, scrolling social media the second your eyes open.
Why is that so bad in this context?
Because when you do that, you are immediately programming your highly suggestible morning brain with external chaos. Whatever urgent demand is in that email, whatever anxiety is in that text, whatever outrage or comparison is on that social feed.
You're handing the programming remote straight over to the outside world.
Before you've even had a chance to choose your own internal state of mind for the day, you're letting random inputs dictate your mood and focus from minute 1.
So the challenge is resist the phone, at least for those first few minutes.
Resist the phone. Instead, ensure that the very first thoughts that consciously enter your mind are those 8 intentional sentences. Direct your own mind first.
Set the tone yourself for your capacity, your expectation, your attitude, your contribution.
Before the world tries to set it for you. Remember, you are capable of this. You absolutely are allowed to be a work in progress as you build this habit. And you truly deserve this investment in intentionally building a more resilient, positive, and successful version of yourself.
Choose the programming. Start tomorrow.